Hello dear all, Kate back here and welcome to this channel. This channel is about traveling, culture, history and amazing places to visit in the world, predominantly Europe, but sometimes we travel outside. So today we're going to learn everything you ever wanted to learn about Finland: culture, history, nature, food and cities. So if you've ever been wondering about the terrific country of Finland and don't know too much about it, this is a video for you. In this video we will learn how Finland inspired the creator of Lord of the Rings, how it was the shortest ever lived monarchy in the world. I'll share interesting facts, fun facts, fascinating facts, history, geography, people, culture, cities to visit, food to eat. So Finland, the happiest country in the world according to UN Happiness Report 4 years in a row. Total population of 5.4 million of happiest human beings on earth. Capital Helsinki, National Day December 6th, the Independence Day. Government Republic, Parliamentary Democracy. Currency Euro. Official language is Finnish, spoken by roughly 90% of the population. Swedish by over 5%, and Sami is also recognized as a regional language. Finland is the country in the northern Europe and it is very, very cold here. The most of its history it has been under the control of neighboring countries, Sweden and Russia. Today Finland is one of the most successful countries in Europe for many years. People have been, economists including, have been fascinated with China. I think people should be fascinated with Finland, with how well it has recovered after how much it had to go through. Finn's favorite word is sisu, and sisu means determination, steadfastness, and courage. For Finns, sisu is not just a synonym for determination, it's the very essence of Finnish spirit. Sisu is deeply rooted in Finnish culture and history and defines how Finns feel about themselves and how they feel about life. Finnish flag. Blue is the symbol of all lakes and white on the flag is unsurprisingly perhaps the symbol of the snow and the winter. This version of the Finnish flag has been official national flag since 1918. As you've probably heard, there are a lot of saunas in Finland, and the whole idea of, as Finnish say, sauna came from Finland, so there are actually more saunas than cars, and that's the fact. Finnish love saunas, and given how cold the winter is, it makes perfect sense. It's healthy, it's wonderful, and very relaxing. Exciting, interesting facts about sauna or sauna is the fact that Burger King in Helsinki has its own sauna. Finnish parliament has its own sauna as well, and most of the diplomats abroad in their buildings that would be saunas as well. It's an interesting place for Finnish people. It's a very important place. You're not supposed to argue there. It's a sanctuary of peace of sorts. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Finland is the happiest nation on earth. In terms of education, Finland is actually famous as one of the very best countries in the world in terms of education. Most of the schools in Finland are public schools and they're readily available for anyone, and they're consistent in quality regardless where you are. They're quite unique also in terms of how late kids go to school. They go a bit later to school, roughly 7 years old. There usually are no grades until a certain age, and there's very little homework, so a lot of the stuff that has to be done is done at schools, making it a very much of an equal start in life that Finland provides to all of the kids in Finland, regardless of the financial standing. Geography. So Finland borders with Sweden, Norway and Russia. Baltic Sea forms gorgeous coastline that I traveled through and definitely worth the travel. Finland includes a large number of small offshore islands, making it absolutely lovely and beautiful country for holidays. Most of the Finland is lowlands. Northwest, they're covered with mountains. Forests cover about 3/4 of the territory. There are a large number of beautiful lakes and rivers in the country. Majority of the population lives in the southern third of the country. The northernmost part is very, very cold, even though it's gorgeous and mountainous. Mostly people prefer to live in 3 largest cities in Finland. That would be Helsinki, Tampere and Turku. And now to the stunning Finnish nature. In terms of plants, they're predominantly pines and spruce, the evergreens that fill the vast forests of Finland. They're very beautiful, in particular in winter, obviously, because it's all green. Lots of moth, lots of berries here, in particular cloudberries, blueberries, and lingonberries. Most of them you can collect anywhere in the forest, is generally allowed. It's a fantastic experience. Definitely don't overlook when you're traveling to Finland the hunter-gathering experience. Well, minus the hunting, just the gathering. It's an experience of a lifetime. To me, at least, it was. Very easy to collect blueberries and lingonberries. Quite a bit more difficult with cloudberries because they grow on the swamps. But definitely try them at the restaurants. They're great desserts with them. In terms of fauna, Finland is rich in fauna in both birds and animals. There are a lot of beautiful seabirds, in particular wild swans, that arrive early in spring, and I always feel very sorry for them because it's terrifyingly cold early in spring, and they just they're in the wild on the sea. Usually they're actually on both on the freshwater and the seawater here, at least in Finland. And also there are a lot of beautiful animals here. There are wolves, bears, moose, lynxes, and many more. Great fishing from what I've heard, salmon, trout, herring that Finland offers. And about the people themselves, almost 90% of country's population are ethnic Finns who speak Finnish. Ethnic Swedes make up the largest minority group. There are about 10,000 Sami or Lapps. Their territory called Lapland. That's where the real Santa Claus lives. That territory stretches along northern Finland, Sweden, and Norway. Very, very beautiful place, definitely worth a visit. There are more than 70% of the population that are Christians, and most of them are Lutherans. And most of the country lives in the 1,000th of Finland. In terms of economy, Finland has a very diverse economy centered around manufacturing and servicing. That includes banking, communications, education, and healthcare. Manufacturing is big as well, producing electronics, paper, wood products, and more. In particular, electronics, you must have heard about Nokia. Nokia is from Finland. Now the software development is also big at Finland. Angry Birds come from Finland as well. Obviously, Finland is big on forest, and a lot of the timber-related products are produced in abundance here in Finland. And now to the unexpected, The Lord of the Rings. If you're a big fan, you'd be happy to know that Finnish doctor inspired The Lord of the Rings. In 1800s, Finnish physician Elias Lönnrot was bored with his life in a small town of Kajaani, which is a very nice town, actually, I've been there. Made several trips to the very wild areas of Karelia to collect the folk tales and local legends and myths, and then tried to reconstruct those legends that might have existed in Finland before the advent of Christianity. The resulting book of national myth was called Kalevala, started a revolution in Finnish arts, crafts, and gave a lot of insight to Finnish culture and imagery in 19th century. That inspired J.R.R. Tolkien to create the similar national myth, but for English. And what else is interesting is the fact that he founded Quenya, and Quenya is the language of High Elves that is actually based on Finnish language. Since we are on the interesting facts about Finland, another interesting fact for you: the patron saint of Finland is actually an Englishman. It is known, or presumed to be known, that Saint Henry of Finland was English bishop who arrived with Swedish crusades in 12th century. He got into a fight, apparently on the frozen lake no less, with a forester man named Lely, who was Finnish, who crushed his skull with an axe. And I kid you not, I'm reading it, that's a reliable source presumably, but there you go. So later his bones were wrapped in a white cloth, tied with a blue thread, pay attention to the colors, very much of a national flag colors, and buried in the church of the southwestern Finland. There are no evidence that Henry or Lely ever existed, but interesting aspect of Lely's figure could be representative of the first Finns, the early Finns who were stubborn and resistant to the change. And that's part of the national character. Well, at least when it comes to the negative changes, and that's something I'm extremely supportive of Finnish in. There are a lot of positive changes, though. Finland is on the forefront of a whole bunch of great things, including veganism. So there you go. Next, to the industry. So what's another interesting fact of Finland is that Finnish industry was founded by a Scot. Investor James Finlayson recognized the potential of the Tammerfors rapids that are located in Tampere for hydropower generation early in 1800s. His name has become synonymous with the factory, and it was still named Finlayson because when selling the factory he actually insisted on keeping his name. So the first electrical lights were actually lit here in the Finnish factories of Finlayson. It was a textile factory, and today it includes the very popular Moomin towels that I have 2 of at home. I should have more, I think. And now, my dear friends, to the history. So the first settlement of Finland began way back in time, 10,000 years ago, with this cold and no heating. I can hardly imagine how equipped those early settlers must have been. There's really something to be greatly respected about those first settlers, to say the least. The settlers probably represented several groups, including ancestors of today's Sami, but Sami slowly retreated to the northern regions, either voluntarily, most likely involuntarily, perhaps through the competition with other groups, were pushed out. In 1100s, Swedes began to convert Finns into Christianity. Sweden fought Russia for political and religious control over this region for many years. Sweden took over Finland in 1323, however, were defeated by Russia in 1721. After the defeat, Sweden did not officially surrender Finland to Russia until 1809. In 1917, Russian Empire collapsed as the result of Russian Revolution, and in the same year, Finland declared itself independent. In 1919, it became a republic. What is super interesting, before becoming a republic, it was, as I pointed out earlier, the very, very short-lived monarchy. It became independent in 17. In 18, Finnish government elected German Prince Frederick Karl Louis Constantine, son-in-law of German Emperor Wilhelm II. He was elected as a king. However, he never actually made it to Finland, and he never actually officially became a king, because when he prepared to travel to Finland and take a throne, World War I ended and German Emperor abdicated, leaving no other choice to German prince but to abdicate himself. Personally, I believe Finland didn't lose much at all for not being the monarchy. I believe in liberal democracy and all the advantages that come with it that monarchies generally do not provide. But anyway, back to the history. So World War II, 39 to 45, was absolutely disastrous for Finland. I don't know for what country it wasn't. The beginning of the war, sadly, the country lost large territories to the Soviet Union, and in 1941, Finland sided with Germany against the Soviet Union to return the lost territories. However, in 1944, Soviet troops defeated Finland. After the war, in spite of all of the difficulties, the economy of Finland grew and social conditions improved greatly. As I pointed out, I personally believe that Finland is the miracle economically and socially. Finland joined the European Union in 1995. In 2000, new constitution was adopted, and Tarja Halonen was elected as Finland's first female president, and in 2003, Anneli Jäätteenmäki was appointed a prime minister. So Finland became the first European country to have a woman as both president and prime minister. So by now, presumably, you're in love with Finland. If you're not yet, maybe I didn't do a very good job. So hopefully you are, and planning your next trip to Finland. So where to go? There are actually plenty of videos on the channel about the top 10 places in Finland. You can take a look. If you don't want to bother, you want to see it now, then I would recommend obviously the top cities, Helsinki, Tampere and Turku. If you're in Helsinki, I would also recommend making a quick trip to Porvoo. That's the second oldest city in Finland. Very beautiful. Turku is the oldest city in Finland and their regional capital, so certainly worth a visit. There's a gorgeous castle there. Tampere is beautiful for a whole bunch of reasons. There are couple of beautiful palaces there and very, very beautiful Christmas markets. It's absolutely stunning during the Christmas, so I would recommend doing that. There's a lot of beautiful nature in Finland, lakes if you're into hiking or biking or fishing, or hunter-gathering, particularly gathering, would certainly be a place for you. And once you're in Finland, then the major question would be how to enjoy yourself, right? So then it comes to food. So what to eat in Finland? Finland offers a wide variety of awesome dishes, from casseroles to a great number of different desserts, from teeny tiny buns with jam to blini. They're the very, very thin pancakes with cream usually and fresh berries or jam. Really good desserts, fantastic restaurants. There's a great number of super good restaurants in Helsinki. Certainly you won't be disappointed if you do some research. Coffee is a big deal, so would recommend trying coffee. I actually buy coffee when I come to Finland. I always buy coffee to bring back home. Makkara or fried sausages is a big deal. Munki, this kind of donuts. Porridges are really good, in particular the rice porridge for Christmas morning. During the celebrations, usually this kind of assortments of seafood, different types of fish are very, very popular in Finland. Casseroles are very big and very, very tasty. Berries are obviously abundant, and cloudberries in particular, it's hard to find them elsewhere, so it would definitely be a good place to try. Bread is big in Finland and really, really tasty, in particular rye bread. Karelin pirka or Karelian pie, those are super, super tasty, in particular with blue cheese. So that would be all, my dear friends, that I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do not forget to put the like. If you like such content, please don't forget to subscribe. I mean, whom are we kidding? It's hard to find good content. So thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.